Welcome to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And here's where we talk about what goes on in the village, the township, the various government entities that make laws, regulations, and ordinances that affect you out there.
And just remember, these are the people that you elected, and the commissions and the committees that they appoint, and all the decisions that they make directly affect you, whether you go to the meetings or not. And that's why we're here.
And we found out another reason why we're here is because there's humor embedded in there.
Oh, there's always humor.
Right? And you know, the humor can really be there if you don't attend the meetings to find out what's going on.
That's no joke.
It's no joke, right? Well, I'll tell you what, let's discuss one of the meetings. First one we're going to talk about is the Oxford Village Council meeting, and it was held on June 9th. And Sue Bassardit is the chairperson. She does a great job, you know. Keeping people in line. She's got a big old whip or a club back there, I'm not sure which. But anyway, she keeps it under control.
Good.
Good.
Probably also has a cut switch for the microphone. No.
Could, I'm not sure
She does.
exactly how that works, but it could be. If you folks come, you might check it out. Anyway, the first thing they want to cover is the bills. Yeah, we have bills, right? Okay.
Bill? A bill? Or bills?
A big, well, they're combined, of course. $194,000 worth of bills.
Oh.
And of course, all those in favor, aye. It was all done. It was approved.
No questions asked?
$194,000. Well, no questions asked because they get the information in advance.
Oh.
So they're able to review it, and if they do have questions, of course, they will speak out, and nobody spoke out. So we're assuming that there were no questions and everything balanced. Is that right? Good assumption?
Wow. Waiter, bill, $194,000.
$194,000. Actually, $194,205 roughly. And if you really want to know.
That seems all right. Well, they're still trying to figure out the tip.
Yeah, right. The tip is go on to the next element after you're
Okay.
done with this. Okay. They said, well, let's talk about then the water lines that that were extended to the school. That there needs to be a franchise agreement provided, and Bob Davis, who's the attorney, brought this,
A franchise agreement?
franchise agreement.
Well, that water line to the school has been there since the school opened, right?
Yes, and the question came up real quick. Helmuth, Maureen Helmuth, says, "Oh, wait a minute now. Seems to me like there was some kind of agreement that we had, with them back in 1979."
It wasn't a handshake, was it?
It wasn't a handshake.
Oh, okay.
It was actually a documented document, which apparently she was involved with at that time.
Documented documents are the best.
Documents are the best.
Right.
Yep. We have proof, that it happened. The only thing is, she said, "I'd like to see a copy of that." And Bob Davis says, "Well, there's a little problem there." And she says, "Well, what is it?" He says, "Well, we can't find it." He says, "I can't find it." So Joe Young, the village manager, he said, "We'll locate it." He says, I'm sure it's buried somewhere, so we'll find it.
It would seem there would be two copies at very least, one for the village and one for the school.
Right, and maybe the township would, because they're
township.
involved too.
Oh, true.
Some
So
degree.
3 possible copies.
Right.
Floating
But
around somewhere.
at this time, they couldn't find it.
Okay.
So it's lost. Will it ever be found? Well, who knows?
Who knows?
But anyway,
His
if
fate
not,
is still unlearned, I know.
right. And if not, they're going to, of course, have to come up with, documentation of this some way or another, or develop new documentation, a new contract, new franchise agreement. So anyway,
Which
so
starts out with, "That's not what I said."
all right. So anyway, so they said, "Well, I have an idea." They said, "What's that?" "Let's set it aside until we get a copy of this agreement." And they said, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea. We'll go ahead and do
Set
that."
it aside gambit.
They did set it
Also
aside.
known as tabling it.
And they said, "By the way, what do we know about the meters that go to the school?" And Joe Young says, "Well, Don Brantley, actually was involved in that process, so he would know more about the meter and the way it was charged out and that kind of thing."
Let me guess, he wasn't there at the meeting.
He wasn't there at the meeting. That's good that they, did table it.
Okay.
Because then they, questioned Don Brantley too as to what, he did back in those days.
And desperately looked through a bunch of filing
Right.
cabinets for the document.
But you got to remember 1979. Can you remember what happened in 1979?
What time?
Yes, he probably can. But anyway, Anyway, that's the way that went down. So they've got extra work to do there. And only other thing that Maureen mentioned, or was it Maureen? No, it wasn't Maureen Helmuth. It was
That other,
Bema.
Rose Beamer.
Rose Bema. She said, question, why is the township charging the school, for the debt, for the water line debt and that kind of thing, when they don't really have anything to do with it? They didn't run the line, the school paid for that. The village paid for the hookups and everything and provide the water, source, to the school.
I think
but
what-
yet the
I think
township is
that's-
charging.
Probably known as a pretty good question.
It sounds to me like it's a good deal for the township. And probably
How
too
did
bad
they- how
that
did
came
they-
up.
How did they ever figure into the deal?
I have no idea. Neither do they know how it happened. So they said, we got an idea. When we have a special meeting on this, or when we have the next meeting, let's discuss that as well. They said, well, that's a good idea. Let's find out, how the school got involved in this, how the township got
Is that
involved
the
in the
meeting
school.
they're going to have on the 23rd?
That's the one they're going to have on the 23rd, which by the time this is aired, it will have already happened. And we can let
And
you
all
folks,
those copies of those documents that are missing now will show up.
hopefully, they'll bubble to the top. And as far as the humor goes, we'll present that next time we get more information for you, right?
Right.
All right. Okay, so then they said, what's next? And they said, well, Joe Bullen stood up. By the way, Joe Bullen, he is the chairperson of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay.
And, but
Otherwise known as the ZBA.
ZBA. But he wanted to discuss the Little Free Library. Apparently these are going in various locations. And they're going to put one in Centennial Park.
Is that like a mobile thing?
It is, but it's not connected to the library at all. It's an independent effort for people to get books, read books, and return them to the little library that they have.
Who sponsors it?
I think somebody within the village is pushing this thing or trying to get it going. It's not the library system that's really promoting it, but more coming through the village. I know Kingsbury has one of these, and it's working pretty effectively for them. So
like a pop-up camper that they
Right.
set up in Centennial Park, or what?
it's going to be, like a little kiosk,
Okay.
for it.
And you can check out books? Or do you have to read them there and they're attached to chains?
I don't know exactly how it's going to work yet.
Okay.
Make a note.
Make a
Find
note.
out, will you?
I'll just add it to my stack.
We'll let you know next time, right?
Right,
We will. Yeah, right. So anyway, they said, well, what about policing it? What's to keep somebody from hooking a chain on and dragging it away? That kind of thing, or taking all the books and take them home. Well, there's a process, I guess, where they're going to set monitors up, surveillance, so that they can keep an eye on it. And of course, the police are downtown, and the DPW is involved, and that kind of thing. And of course, the park maintenance people, of course, are running in and out. So they'll take care of that.
There's the fingerprint and the DNA that has to be submitted before you can check out a book.
That could be it. So make sure that you wear gloves when you go.
See.
Okay. That being said, we'll come back and we'll tell you more right after this.
Whether your family is interested in hunting or target shooting, or even if your family doesn't participate in these activities, having a family conversation about firearms safety is the right thing to do. Join me for a straightforward discussion of what to say, how to say it, and how to talk with both young and older kids about this important topic. It will be time well spent.
Hi, I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles.
Join Terry and me with the Oxford Weekly News broadcast on our Charter 191 and AT&T Channel 99, Monday through Friday, noon, 6:30, and 11 p.m.
Learn about local news in the Addison Township, Leonard, and Oxford viewing areas. News not usually covered by other stations.
If you don't have Charter or AT&T service, you can still catch our programs on your computer just by going to the website occtv.org and click on Programs. There you will find our programs and many others of local interest.
Watch OCTV where your news is closer to home.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we've been talking about the Oxford Village Council, in which they've been talking about having a book, little book library set
little
up.
book library.
Little book library
Say it
set
four
up.
times.
So anyway, let's go on to the next issue.
Okay.
because all that stuff had to be approved, of course, by the
Right,
village, and
right.
was approved. So,
In Centennial Park,
McKenna and Associates, who's the
planners.
planners, right, and consultants, they their contract is due to expire sometime, I
Oh.
believe, in August, and so they're saying that they would like it renewed. So they just had a long discussion over that, and in the meantime, they said also we would also be interested in doing all your planning services for you for the village.
What do they do now?
Well, they don't do all of it. A lot of the village work is done internally.
Oh, okay.
So, and they have X number of days that they come in and they work on it, but then, the rest of it is running willy-nilly. Should we say willy-nilly?
Willy-nilly.
Joe Young, the supervisor, is going to like that
So-
word, but anyway.
So they're looking to do this full-time rather than
Right, they want to take it over pretty much
Okay.
as a whole. And they said also they made a proposal for the DDA, also working with the DDA, that they would support services for the DDA to the tune of roughly $4,850 a month.
What are they paying now?
They're not paying anything because nobody's doing this other than the
No,
board
but,
itself.
But they're using them as consultants right now, so there has to be a price that they're currently paying
Right.
for their services.
There's an hourly rate that they use, depending if they go over the fixed rate that they have established, which was $850.
Okay.
So that said, depending on what the DDA requires, which they haven't required a whole lot because of the financial issues that they've had in the past. And speaking of the DDA, they did approve during the DDA meeting. We're kind of jumping ship here a little bit, but you would know something about that, right?
Go down those rat
He's in
lines.
the Navy. No, anyway, around the Navy anyway.
Yeah. So you bailed.
Yeah, right.
So
So the DDA have approved a gentleman to become the new director, for the organization.
A guy named Joe.
Yeah, named Joe Frost.
Right.
That's
Not Jack Frost. Well,
Nope.
Joe Frost.
And he and his family are from Indiana. However, originally he was born and raised in Davison, Michigan.
Oh,
So he's not unfamiliar.
as
He
they
has-
say, just up the road a piece.
Right. He has a bachelor's degree, I think, from University of Michigan, and a master's degree from Ball State
In what?
University. Something to do with architectural and that kind of thing, which, lends itself to the particular job that he was hired for.
Okay.
And also, he's very knowledgeable, understand about grants, being able to provide grants. Which
Good grant writers are
that's
hard to
good need.
find.
Yep. So anyway, so it was approved, with the exception of 3 people that voted against hiring somebody for this position at this time. And those people were Ed Hunwick, let me see,
What did they do? Pass by one vote?
Bill Dunn. No, it passed by a majority, and Rod Charles.
Oh, yeah, but
Now, those 3 people voted against it because they felt that the money that was going to be expensed for a director at this time really could be used more so for downtown improvements, that kind of thing, for the businesses, and to shear up also the general fund that they have. Of course, they had all kinds of financial issues with that.
how many people are on the DDA?
There's 8 members
8.
on the
Okay.
DDA,
I
I believe.
thought
Yep.
there was less. Okay.
Oh, so there's quite a few members. And so anyway, so it was approved by a majority that they would hire him. Now, that doesn't mean he's hired yet. He has to go before the village council next. And the village council will decide,
The higher authority.
the higher authority, the people with the purse strings. And so you'll hear more, as soon as we find out what's going on, if he
And-
was actually hired or not.
And, folks, the veto vote.
Right.
If-
Now, right. There could be a veto involved. It's hard to say.
okay. Usually they go with the recommendation, though.
Well, they do, except they know the financial issues involved. But the thing is, Sue Bassardit sits on the DDA board, and she was one of them that approved this. And she's also the chairperson, of course, on the village council. So,
That's a foot in the door.
well, you pretty much know the way she's going to want to go with this. So, it depends on if the other village council members agree with it or not, knowing the financial situation. Now, I want to say that one person, actually there's 2 now, that are really watching the financial issues of not only the DDA, but also the village council. And that's Brian Cloutier, who's the director of the library.
Right.
And
Pretty sharp guy.
He is. And as a matter of fact, all of these issues they were talking about on McKenna, providing services, to the village, amounts to a great deal of money compared to what they're paying on the old contract. And so Brian Cloutier says, whoa, wait a minute. I'd like to know, where is the money going to come from? That's a good question, huh?
It's kind of like asking a member of Congress, where is the income stream for your bill?
We'll raise the taxes. That's what we'll, no.
We'll print more money, damn it.
Yeah, right. That's what happens, I guess. Anyway, so in this case, you know, he did stop it dead, and the village manager, though, did say that probably would loan the money from the general fund. And so Brian Cloutier says, well, doesn't that diminish in a way, diminish that particular fund, which you're trying to shear up, you know, because it's been an issue. And Joe says, well, we'll find the money. And Brian Cloutier says, well, I'd like to know where that money is going to come from. So if you want to, you know,
God will provide.
we're going to do this. If we need to do this, we need to do it, you know, in a rational way to find it. So anyway, good point on Brian Cloutier. And actually, Rose Bema, she spoke up and she said she had concerns along that line as well.
Oh, there were 3 members.
She used
that
to
did.
be a clerk or something. Wasn't she with the village at one time?
She was, yeah, I
assistant
think
clerk?
the clerk or treasurer
Yeah.
of the village, yeah. I'm
So-
not sure exactly what the capacity was, but she held it for quite a while, I guess.
Right. And so they really have 2 really knowledgeable
And just when she
people.
thought she was out, they'd bring her back in
Yeah.
again.
Well, she was elected to office, so
Yeah.
she brought herself in, I think,
Yeah.
by running for office. So anyway, it looks like there's some members on the village council that's watching the money, and they sure have to, because I realized what the situation was a few years ago in dire straits. And they actually had improved, you know, over that period. And they don't want to get back into that dilemma again.
Right.
And Brian, I think, is pointing that out. So anyway, that's an issue that's going to be ongoing, I think. Money is always a problem. And of course, a big solution is that, here's the fun part, raise the taxes. That could be it.
And all the Republicans went,
Yeah, right. They did, yes. Okay.
oh, wait a minute, they're all Republicans, what am I saying?
So, all right. So anyway, so what they did here is they actually approved McKenna for the $800 and some, same type of contract they had before. And they're going to review the rest of it,
Okay.
you know, down the line.
Well,
So,
they have to know how much they were paying for what services they got compared to what
absolutely.
they're supposedly going to get.
Right. You couldn't run a business that way and say, hey, I'm out of money, I'm going to have to go get some more money. The
But,
government would do that.
but basically what they're proposing is a fixed price rather
Right.
than a variable one,
Exactly. You're kind of on cue there.
more or less.
Okay. Anyway, one other thing that they covered, and that was, remember the lawsuit with Jim Wilson, between Jim Wilson and Willicke, Dale Willicke.
Yeah, next door
Property
neighbors.
dispute.
Next door neighbors.
That ended up going to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Zoning Board of Appeals agreed with the Planning Commission. And so Mr. Willicke took it to Circuit Court, and Circuit Court just ruled in favor of the village and also in favor of Jim Wilson. So it looks like
So is it a done deal now?
it's a done deal now. There's no way, I don't think that'll prevail.
White
for,
flags waved?
Yep, and I
Okay.
think Jim Wilson was kind of doing a Snoopy dance, so
Okay.
I think it worked out for him. All right, this is Minutes by Minutes. We'll be back with more right after this.
See you then.
Hi, everybody. I'm Terry Stiles.
And I'm Bill Service. I'm the producer of our Community Access. For nearly 10 years, Terry and I have been bringing our Community Access into your living rooms to keep you informed about what's happening in our communities.
We've all had great fun at our community events such as Lone Ranger and Strawberry Festivals.
We brought you natural wonders such as bees and ceremonies to bless them.
We've kept you informed of election issues and how your votes affect all of us.
And we've told you about our local artist important fundraisers that help the ones you love.
We've helped you get to know our new business neighbors and much, much more.
But we're not done yet. There's much more we plan to cover. So watch us weekdays on Charter Channel 191 and AT&T Channel 99 at 9:30 at 1, then at 7 o'clock, and Saturday at 9:30.
See you there.
I'm Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard and former Red Wing great Joey Koser reminding you to follow the rules regarding boater safety. Always operate at safe speeds, avoid alcohol, and wear a life jacket. Don't let a great day on the water be ruined by bad decisions.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're talking about Village Council, and that was a big, long meeting.
4 hours, I hear.
Pretty close, I think it was.
Wow.
It probably seemed like 8. Anyway, They had a number of other issues too. They said that instead of the free notary public that they offer now, services, and as far as the meeting room being offered free to businesses and charitable organizations, they're going to have, yep, they're talking about increasing, or providing a fee to it. And also park use, people that want to use the park for either charitable or business applications would be charged for it. And there's some other items too. And in their next meeting, that's going to be discussed. And
You mean the park, like the...
Centennial Park.
Okay. Really?
Really. So anyway, so they're going to compare against what other communities are charging for, prior to the next meeting, so they'll have a little more factual information before they make a decision.
Okay.
But you folks, you want to catch that next meeting that they have, and he'll talk about that later. But it means a little more money coming out of your pocket some way or another, depending on who you are and want to use those services.
It's called pay to play.
Pay to play. And there's a good reason why it should probably be done. And but you folks want to check it out, and maybe there's a good reason why it shouldn't be done. Okay?
Well, right now, it's more money.
Right. Another thing they discussed was insurance, and their insurance program is due, so they're going to review the complete insurance requirements for the village. And they said, police chief stood up and he says, hey, he says, I have a need for a police car. He says, the other police car, he said, is a Chevrolet, which is giving us a problem, and it should be replaced. And he said, by the way, he said, I did put this in the budget. So he said, the money is there. And so they reviewed the budget, and they said, well, how much is it going to cost for a police car? And he says, well, completely equipped, everything I need to stop those rascals from going too fast in town and so forth. He said it'll be $29,000. And they said, okay, the money is there. So
will this be a marked or an unmarked police car?
Oh, it'll be a marked police car.
Okay.
It'll have all the whistles, bells, and sirens on it that's required. And
those whistles and bells are really loud and really bright anymore.
they are. Okay. They said also that one of the expenses that they had to spend money for, which was the nature of about $6,000, was for special assessments. And that's for properties that people have left town on, left them vacant. The grass is growing, they got to hire lawnmowers, they got to put, and of course planning requirements for it, as well as water and sewer fees and so forth.
What do? Do they put a lien on their property at that point?
They try to do that, yes, if they can get the money that way. If not, when the property is sold, then they're required to pay off the debt before the property can be inhabited.
What happens when the amount owed equals the value of the property?
It's probably not going to be sold, and it'll probably be turned over to the village, more than likely, in which they'll have a big old auction out there. I don't know how that works, but anyway, that's probably what would happen. Bob Davis, the attorney, said we need additional training, he said, for the Zoning Board of Appeals, for those members. He said, and so he said, I recommend that be done. He said, I'm willing to do it in terms of laws, because he said, that's your law department, he said, for the village. He said, so they've set that up for the next Zoning Board of Appeals meeting that they have in July. Let me see, litigation. Okay, we did talk about the Wilecki. That's all cleared and done. Legal fees.
Legal fees?
Yeah, legal fees are issued. Legal fees that the attorney charges the village. And one of the commissioners...
Is he on a retainer, or is he there by the hour?
He's on retainer, and then beyond that, he charges for time. So,
okay.
So you got to be careful, what the village decides to do. You can't get them involved in everything, otherwise it could be very expensive. Let me see. The other thing is the Leonard Village Council. They had a meeting also. Mike McDonald, the chairperson and president of the Village Council. They wanted to mention, of course, that the Strawberry Festival is going to be coming up. And
be sure and go to it, folks.
Yep. Strawberry.
When is it?
It's going to be the 63rd Leonard Strawberry Festival. Actually, is the Township Festival. And it's Saturday, July 18th, and starts early. There's a 5K run available. I think starts at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. And there's other activities going on. But it actually opens at 10:30. The parade is at 12 o'clock. So, and you don't want to miss the parade, because, boy, they got a great parade. And Strawberry Festival,
ice cream, strawberry, whipped
Shortcake,
cream.
all that good stuff. And it's all in Leonard. One of the nicest little towns in this area, I got to tell you.
Right.
And you won't want to miss that. Trust me, we go every year. It's a lot of fun, and they got a pretty long parade too. I didn't see you in it last year, but
Well, no.
okay. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. A lot of things for the kids, games, rides, all kinds of things going on there. And they have items for sale too. I think the veterans, I've seen the American Legion, they're selling hats and that kind of thing. Pretty interesting stuff. As a matter of fact, I bought one for my grandson.
Oh,
I was there.
old sergeant major's badges.
Old Air Force. No, Air Force hat. It's a really nice hat. He wore it for quite a while, but he wore it out, I think. So anyway, so that's what's going on. Strawberry Festival, Leonard. Keep an eye on that one. There's a young man who stood up and said, hey, he said, and he was probably about 9 years old, said there's a lot of weeds and things, he said, in this particular area on the Polly Ann Trail. And he said, I'd like to see it, cleaned up a little bit. He said, I ride my bike there.
Well, they do have a contract for
Yeah.
that, don't they?
Well, there's actually just volunteers do that.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Well, they do. I don't know if they go that far down, for a Polly Ann Trail organization, if they cover that area or not.
I thought they let a general contract every year for
Well,
that
they
kind
do.
of cleanup.
But the Leonard people and Addison Township people, they roll their sleeves up and they just pitch in and they get it done too. So, like they had a storm and tree was across, they go in, they saw it up and get it out. So, I mean, they're really, really helpful, in keeping that trail nice and clean. People
Good
to
for
use.
them. Good
Yep,
for them.
Yep. They had a lot of bills though, and they have 3 different accounts that their bills go into. They had $6,380 go into one general account fund, and then they had another $5,699 go into still another fund, and then a local fund they have for $720 roughly. So they had to spend some money, last month.
There's the general fund, and then there's
Yep, all these other funds.
other funds.
The other funds, yeah. Do we have other funds? I think we
Wow.
might. Anyway, they talked about the lawn tractor too. Hey, their lawn tractor has pooped out. They cannot use it anymore, because it's just a regular lawn tractor, and they need something more on a commercial level.
I tell you about my lawn tractor. Once it was dead, and now it's alive. It's a Lazarus machine.
It is. Okay. It really is, huh? Chipmunks didn't foil the
No, I didn't suck
transmission
them
or
into the
anything.
air cleaner. Or
I see.
anything.
Okay. Oh, he didn't say that, folks. He really likes chipmunks.
Yeah, right.
Except he has these little cages that he transports all over the country.
My
so-
daughter-in-law was looking the other day and said, "They're back."
They're back. Right. Well, tell me what's going on.
Well, we don't have that many meetings, but on 6/23, on 6:30, the special meeting we just talked about for the Village Council. And also on 6/24 at 6:30, the Oxford Board of Education, and they'll be meeting at the board offices in downtown Oxford. And on 6/25 at 7 o'clock, the Oxford Township Planning Commission. And also in Centennial Park that day, the Girlfriends Walk will start at 6 o'clock. And what do you call it? The Bangles, Bobbles?
And bangles and bobbles.
Bangles and bobbles.
Right, that's what it is.
So if you got bangles or bobbles, bring them there.
Hey, being you mentioned Centennial Park too, by the way, they have
Concerts in the park.
They every
said.
Thursday, and it starts, I think, at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Starts
But
at 7
before
o'clock.
that, there's an open mic. So
There is.
if you got a talent and you want to
Yeah.
sing over the sound of gravel trucks, go ahead.
Right. Yeah. You can do that. Yeah. Actually, they quiet down about that time of the night,
Oh,
so
yeah,
it should
that's
work
true.
out pretty
That's
well.
true.
And if you're a comedian or a magician or whatever, whatever your talent is, yeah, it's a good chance to get some exposure out there and
Right.
get laughs. If you get no laughs, you want to go on to a different career. That's what you might want to do. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
This is Minutes by Minutes. We'll catch you next time right here.
See you then.
I would love to have all the local World War II veterans on my life. Just think about it. These folks were born around World War I, grew up during the Depression and Prohibition, and then went to fight for us in Europe and Japan. What great stories they could share. What examples they are. What inspirations. Some of them and others are coming up on my life Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m., Saturdays at 10 a.m. If you have any suggestions, please call us at the station. We'd love to hear from you. This is John Ochins. Join us on Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.